you to the final round of our essay and presentation competition. This is organized by the students of Postgraduate Diploma in Tourism, Economics and Hotel Management and Masters in Tourism, Economics and Hotel Management of University of Colombo under the guidance and visionary of Professor Dr. Suranga Silva, the coordinator of tourism study programs at University of Colombo. We received quite a lot of essays and presentations from undergraduate students representing various universities and higher educational institutions. But after the evaluation made by our panel members, we could select the best out of the best. I would like to mention all the members of our scientific and evaluation panel who helped us a lot in evaluating all the essays and presentations. First and foremost, Reverend Professor Dr. W. Vimalaratna, Professor in Economics, University of Colombo. The panel chair, Professor Dr. Suranga Silva, the coordinator of tourism study programs and Professor in Tourism Economics. Deshpantu Professor Jiva Niriyal, Professor in Law, University of Colombo. Dr. Mubarak Kaldin, Senior Lecturer at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. Dr. Himali De Silva, Senior Lecturer at Institute of Ingenious Medicine, University of Colombo. Dr. Sepali Sudasinghe, Additional Director General and Senior Consultant of Sri Lanka Institute of Development Administration. Dr. Shamni Pereira, Head of Faculty of Management, Sri Lanka Technological Campus. Mr. Gamunu Gunawardena, Chairman of Winston Group. Ms. Bhakya Mahavitanage, Assistant Director of Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, and Ms. Geetanjali Chakravarti, General Manager at Hilton Yala. However, today's session of our top 5 presenters will be evaluated by Reverend Professor Dr. W. Vimalaratna, Professor in Economics, University of Colombo, Professor Dr. Suranga Silva, the coordinator of tourism study programs and Professor in Tourism Economics, Deshapantu Professor Jiva Niriyal, Professor in Law, University of Colombo, Dr. Mubarak Kaldin, Senior Lecturer at Southeastern University of Sri Lanka, Dr. Himali De Silva, Senior Lecturer at Institute of Indigenous Medicine, University of Colombo, Dr. Sepali Sudasinghe, Additional Director General and Senior Consultant of Sri Lanka Institute of Development Administration, and Mr. Gamunu Gunawardena, Chairman of Winston Group. On behalf of the organization committee of our competition, I would like to welcome all of you. So today we are going to witness the final round of the top 5 students. Prior starting the event, I would like to mention what our winners will be receiving. So the first place will be given a day out package for the family for maximum 4 members in any Asia Leisure hotel, and the second place will be given a day out for maximum 2 people in any Asia Leisure hotel. And I would like to thank and mention our alumni of tourism at University of Colombo for sponsoring for our winners as well. So before starting the final round, I would like to invite our panel chair, Professor Dr. Suranga De Silva, to speak a few words regarding the competition. Professor, over to you.
Thank you very much, Damsi. Can you hear me right now?
Yes, of course, sir.
Yes. Okay. Let me, with my great appreciation of all the panel members, Professor Reverend Vimalaratna, Professor in Tourism, Professor in Economics, University of Colombo, and Deshapantu Professor Jiva Niriyal, the Professor in Law and University of Colombo, and Mr. Gamunu Gunawardena, the Chairman of Winston Group. Thank you very much, Mr. Gamunu. And Dr. Sepali Sudasinghe, Senior Consultant and Additional Director General of Sri Lanka Institute of Tourism Development and Administrations. Thank you, Dr. Sepali. And Dr. Himali De Silva, Senior Lecturer of Institute of Indigenous Medicine, University of Colombo. Dr. Mubarak Kaldin, Senior Lecturer, University of Southeastern University of Sri Lanka. Thank you, Dr. Mubarak. And then all the panel members, and including Ms. Geetanjali Chakravarti and Ms. Bhagya. And in addition, I would like to convey our sincere thankfulness to the students of masters and postgraduate diploma in tourism economics and hotel management. More importantly, I want to thank Damsi Dharmavardhana and Anjali Sinivaratna and Navodi Karnaratna, and I think two other students contribution. Actually, because of your contribution, we are in a comfortable situation to organize this event. The essay competition and presentation. Actually, our sincere thankfulness. Many of the students those who applied for this event and presentations. Now we are at the last final event. We have actually selected to our valuable panel members 5 top best students. Those who have done good essay competition essays, and the present now we are going to see the best presentations. So this event, not just the competitions, we thought that it is good time to create the awareness among our now we have selected we have selected 20 out of them. Then we have selected 5 times would be the can be many disasters. We have to empower our students. I would like to congratulate everybody through the analytical skills and innovative thinking. So wish you all the best, Namsi. Now you can start the so valuable good presentation out of the 5 best students. We would like to see the best out of the best. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, Professor. So now we are going to start our competition. Competitors, you will be given 10 minutes to present your presentations. After each of your presentation, our judge board will raise questions from you. Good luck, everyone. And Gayatri, over to you.
Thank you, Damsi. Once again, congratulate every selected out of many contestants. And finally, we have come to the finals of this essay and presentation competition for university and the higher educational students under the topic of resilient and recovery of Sri Lankan tourism. Beyond Lanka, who is a student of University of California to present his presentation. So it's over to you.
Shall I start, ma'am?
Yes, please, Chamindu.
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly. Can I start now?
You may start now, Chamindu. It's yours.
Good afternoon, Venerable Thero, ladies and gentlemen. I am Chambu Kavisha from University of California. Today, I'm going to talk about the topic of resilience and recovery of Sri Lankan tourism beyond the impacts of COVID-19. Actually, I'm living in Bentota. Bentota is the most finest tourist destination in Sri Lanka. Most of community in my village engage with tourism-related occupations. Nowadays, they're suffering from various problems due to this COVID-19 pandemic. I move to the next slide. So, what is the definition of tourism? According to World Tourism Organization in 1993, tourism encompasses the activities of persons traveling and staying in places outside their usual environment for not more than one consecutive year for leisure, business, and other purposes. Sri Lanka's third largest foreign exchange earning industry is tourism industry. There is no doubt that most of employees are engaging with tourism sector. The main purpose of visiting the country by tourists is to have pleasure. Most of the tourists come to country to engage in various entertaining activities such as visiting beaches, windsurfing, boating, jungle trekking for hiking, rock climbing, and various activities like while present over the developing country, tourism is uncertain and unstable, likewise our country. And these epidemics have depend on the tourism industry. Before COVID-19, Sri Lanka has been facing unexpected fluctuations in the number of international tourist arrivals due to different kind of political and social issues. Black July insurgency situation in 1983, JVP insurrection, youth unrest in 1988 and 1989, the Iran War, the suicide attack to Colombo International Airport in 2001, the ceasefire agreement in 2002, the end of the war, were some of fluctuation facts backward in the tourism industry. By the way, tourism industry was increased, but in 2019, another incident happened. The deadly bomb attack of Sunday, April 21, we called it Easter Sunday attack, shocked the entire island of Sri Lanka. Due to this terrorist attack, most of inbound flights to the country are empty. Cancellation at tour operators and hotels are increasing. The government expects a decline in visitors by 30%. That means a loss of about $1.5 billion. I'll move to next slide. After the terrorist attack in Sri Lanka, another tragedy happened against the tourism. The tourism sector, which is the third largest foreign income earner of Sri Lanka, has been drastically affected by COVID-19. In fact, major tourism markets of Sri Lanka have been suffering from the pandemic and therefore enforced travel bans for their citizens. The global pandemic, which happened in December last year, affected to most countries' industries, including Sri Lankan tourism industry. As we all know, some even lost their employments because of this deadly virus. The people who solely depend on tourism industry has no choice and they cannot shift another industry because they only engage with this industry. I mean this, they haven't another alternative industries. The unfortunate COVID-19 pandemic closed down the entire sector for nearly 4.5 months up to now. More than 500,000 employed with tourism industry and according to the officials hotels and restaurants under lockdown and no guests arriving. Employment of tourism industry is at risk now. Not only that, Sri Lanka has repeatedly failed to achieve its target of attracting at least 2.5 million visitors yet. As a direct result of COVID-19, tourist arrivals in February declined by 17%. The cumulative tourist arrivals in the first 2 months of the year fell 12%. The impact of COVID-19 on Sri Lankan tourism industry cannot be calculated precisely. It is difficult task, but the damage is immense and uncountable. This graph will show the fluctuations of tourist arrivals clearly. The first quarter of 2020 tourism arrivals decreased when we comparing the year 2019. I move to next slide. Each and every time the Sri Lankan tourism is affected, the people whose livelihood is based on tourism cannot be left to their fate. When we consider aforementioned factors, it is obvious that we need some solution, policies, and resilience strategies. As Sri Lankans who have managed to control the spread of this pandemic successfully, we should step up and grab the opportunity by preparing new policies and strategies for encouraging the tourism sector. Before implementing the policies, public sector, private sector, tourism agencies, and other institutions have to work with cooperate. If not, developing tourism is cannot do precisely. Sri Lanka has also an opportunity to use this pandemic disaster to convert as a platform to redesign and redirect Sri Lanka tourism and manage with right strategic approach. On the other hand, the government and tourism agencies as well as other institutions can now start developing basics needs and infrastructure to facilitate travel for foreigners and local tourists. Because at present, a lot of tourist destinations and accommodation hasn't proper accessibility, amenities, and so on. The best example is the sea gear. Small and inconvenience due to this COVID-19 pandemic. So, Sri Lankan Tourism Development Authority have to protect them, however. And also, Ayurvedic methods. If it is so, most tourists attractive and come to Sri Lanka for gaining Ayurvedic methods and Ayurvedic treatments. They also like it. And the government should implement new healthcare requirements to improve safety and confidence of both local and tourists. In future campaigns, it would be the best if Sri Lanka can focus on novel experiences and locations. The hotel owners and restaurant owners can offer discounts and give the free packages for tourists, value-added services. And promoting flexi services would be another strategy to protect tourism. Most resilient strategy is marketing the tourism. According to that, TV channels and other social medias can implement the strong marketing methods such as advertising and doing promotional campaigns for promoting the industry. Sri Lanka had promoted as one of the safest tourist destinations for good health and safety among the other countries in the world. Obviously, there has a possibility to improve and develop the Sri Lankan tourism industry. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. Let me give you a summary of what I have been talking about over the last few minutes. Basically, I talk about the Sri Lankan tourism before COVID-19, impacts of COVID-19 on Sri Lankan tourism, and finally, I talk about the effective strategies and policy measures for post-COVID-19 tourism development in Sri Lanka. Thank you very much for listening to me.
Thank you, Chamindu. I'd like to quickly brief what he has taught for us. He was taken through us the significance of tourism and important milestones.
Professor Jeevan from unmute.
Oh, sorry, I forgot to unmute. Thank you, Ranga. Thank you very much. Forgot to unmute. And it's a good presentation. As I mean, the student, he has a lot of research. My question is, you said that period, how
It's good for our country to engage in various
during these 2-3 months. Do you have any personal experience? They are exposed to indigenous medicine for any prevention or any kind of activities during COVID?
no, ma'am. Actually, the hotels are also closed. But I think the promoting of my tourists Ayurvedic treatments.
You use our media to promote.
Yes, sir. Recently, the Alla tourism, the most of tourists said that the during pandemic situation, Sri Lanka is the best and the safest place to live for living there. So I mentioned in this.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
dear Kavi, coming, do you have how the zone.
Yes, Kavish, can you hear me?
Uh, yes,
Can you hear me?
yes.
Okay. Um, you have done a good job. You have also way. People's participation should be there to regain the momentum of lost tourism in Sri Lanka. What do you propose for the community participation in promoting tourism? You have identified different areas. Okay, those are really good, but all those are part and parcel of the if community is rejecting foreigners in fear of COVID-19 or some other issues. It would be difficult to promote it. How do you win the minds of general public, basically the community?
Uh, as I mentioned before, the participation, the media, the social, especially Facebook, YouTube, and other social medias can give their cooperation to
So we need community awareness programs. Otherwise,
All the panel members has raised their questions. So let's move to our next presenter. Hi, Cedric Liam Silva, who is a student of Management and Science University. Cedric, the platform is yours.
A very good afternoon to everyone. Hope everyone can hear me.
Yes, we can.
Yes. Okay.
Can you please
Yes, ma'am.
share your presentation video? Yeah. And we want you to
Yes,
on your
ma'am.
video as well. Okay, you may start now.
So the topic that we'll be talking today is the resilience and recovery of Sri Lanka tourism beyond the impacts of COVID-19. So this is one of the main topics that has been talking about. I think yesterday as well there was a webinar at MSU. So I think Dr. Suranga and some valuable information also was spoken there. So today's topic, it would be divided into three parts. So first we will be reviewing what was the situation before all this happened. So moving on to the first slide. So the way I have tried to present the situation before COVID-19 is I have taken a series of the years of the past few years from beginning from 2009. So that is right after the war. We can see the tourist arrivals on your left side. That is, we started at 447,890. So at this moment, this was the verge of a new beginning for Sri Lankan tourism. So moving on to 2013, 2015, we can see a significant increase. And moving on to 2019, we hit a total of 1.9 million. So this being one of the a great achievement for the 2019. So on right on the same screen, we can see like I have totally given all the numbers. So if we take the tourist arrivals in 2018, we took a total of 2.3 million. So we can see a small drop between 2018 and 2019, that being due to the unfortunate incidents of April 21st. But if we focus on 2018, so on 2018, we had a direct contribution to the GDP of 4.9%. So as Chamidu also explained, the tourism industry being the third largest foreign income earner to the country, so 4.9% is a large impact to the GDP. So if you take the accommodation side, so me being part of the hotel industry, so the room occupancy within the country, we have achieved an average percentage of 72%. So 72% being for a country like Sri Lanka, it is amazing. So yes, we can do better, and in the future, that is what we plan for. And also going on to total employment generation, 388,000 people have been employed in the tourism industry. This can be direct to the accommodation sector, it can be to the travel agencies, tour operators, and even if we take the umbrella effect, it can be to the small vendors, direct and indirect as well. So emphasizing the growth and stability is, to the tourism industry in Sri Lanka before the pandemic. So this was our situation before January. So currently I work at Cinema Lakeside Colombo, and if I can tell you December. Just to emphasize, there was one comment on TripAdvisor saying that the hotel was a train station. It was so busy. You can take weddings from this side, then the outlets, we had 198 arrivals, 160 departures daily. So that was the situation we were going through in December before the direct impact of the COVID-19. So I have listed in summary some of the impacts that have taken place due to this COVID situation. So the global pandemic has caused the entire country into lockdown. So for 3 months, the hotel industry, we depend, most of us, we depend on the service charge alone. So for December, where we got over 50,000 service charge at the city hotels, it went down completely to zero. And certain companies that were able to give in 2000 March alone, and then going forth, we have zero arrivals for the until June. So this is something that we have to understand, that like for the hotel industry and for the people who work in the industry, this has caused a large impact to people's lives in terms of their income, in terms of expenditures and everything. So the tourism industry, like the tourism arrivals is it's cost it causes a chain of events to happen. So if we say the occupancy levels decrease, then the people's lives from their basic salaries to the service charge to their loans to their expenditures to family development, children's things, everything like that will be affected through this. And if you take the reality of the situation, even most of the hotels have come to a standstill due to the, at least even they can't come up to the break even point of the operational cost of the hotel. So if it's like of a good like a stable company such as Hilton, Cinnamon, Aiken Spence, yes, the job security is there for a certain time. But what about the other people who like to engage, who have worked so hard to bring up this tourism industry? This is one of the major impacts that has impacted to them. The tourism in the industry, it has both direct and also indirect impacts. Like if you take the direct, it's directly into the hotels, the travel agencies, it can be even attractions, destinations, and but what about the indirect? People who work for daily wages, people who visiting these attraction sites for them to function. Like if you take L, for instance, for time, but at the moment, all of it is closed. So people there. So what about the people in these areas? So these are little to the tourism industry. So raising the stakes of the financial issues for individuals who are mostly focused on daily wages. So tourism guides, national parks, attractions, for people to even keep the operation going, has come to a standstill. So the next part of it would be what we can do. What are the effective strategies and policies that we can implement being part of the tourism industry for future? Like uh, recovering from COVID is not going to be immediate, but we need to look at the reality of it. We need to make more stable decisions in moving forward. So one point that I would like to take is the segmentation, targeting, positioning. So this is part of marketing actually, but if we try to implement this into the development part of it, so we can review the basis of segmentation. So whether it can be location, it can be climate, it can be attraction, it can be purpose for travel, these little things that we can absorb and we can segment in. It can be even demographic factors of the travelers who we intend to drag down to Sri Lanka. And then targeting, how we evaluate the value of it, identify its core target and the terms of attracting the customers. And then positioning it means like the taking into account the other factors that can be. So we can do the marketing mix, we can check the pestle factors, all these factors that can be finalized, and how we use this strategy into attracting more customers and new customers into Sri Lanka. And then the second point being using Sri Lanka's natural resources to be special. We are being part of an amazing country. Truly said, there is no other country like Sri Lanka. So what I mean by natural resources is we have identified all this time, we have identified few locations and it has been overused. You take Yala Safari, if you take the Mirissa Beach or the Hikkaduwa corals, all these places are common places that every tourist would visit. But what if we can expand our horizons? Like if you take the Ua province, there are certain locations such as Madosima, Namanukula, then Lulugala side. These are places that haven't been exposed to the tourism industry. So moving forward, I would be talking about exploring untapped destinations as well, but using its natural resources to attract customers, like the Ayurvedic part of Sri Lanka. It is an amazing and huge subject that only specialists can. But what if we use these special things that we can promote and get down people to? Then the third point I will want to talk about is increasing the linkage within the country to minimize the leakage. very beneficial to the local. When I have been working in the down south area in at Eden Resort in Berwell as well as in Kalutar. So when we look around, we can see a lot of people engaging in the tourism industry. So my point being is, what if we can use our local vendors to to a more extent, like farm to table concept can be used in most cases, not to 100%, but to a majority percentage. If we can use that concept, farm to table, supporting the local vendors in the area, supporting local companies, and we have to try to minimize the leakage of foreign currencies out of the country. So taking that concept also, we can help minimize and also build up our local communities within the country. And then the third point is, I have taken this by looking at cinnamon hotels and resorts, providing special packages to individuals who worked at the front line in the war against the COVID-19. So we at Cinnamon, we have started a new pledge. It's a travel pledge actually. So we have given 1,000 vouchers to the frontline workers of the medical industry in Sri Lanka. So the doctors, nurses who strive to eradicate this disease from Sri Lanka, we have given them complimentary stays for the country. I am taking this not in a complimentary basis, but what if we can design through travel agents, design special packages and offer it to people that they can use in attracting people. And this point, we can use it as our hospitality, not just hospitality, but the Sri Lankan hospitality that is within us. So providing a great package deal for the frontline workers in the medical industry around the world after the COVID-19 has been taken care of, obviously. But if we can attract this would give us a more moral advantage in moving forward with the tourism industry, providing people from all other countries a special package for them to travel with their families at special rates as well. So, and the third one is encouraging self-travel for millennials. So we know that this has been a popular market for the backpackers, like people who visit, who travel by train. So these are good packages that we can transfer. And this is a good time as well for us to target on niche market rather than promoting the mass market, mass tourism. Because if we, with the current situation, we are unable to host large groups. Even if it's under 10 or 12, it's a bit hard to attract mass tourism. So what we can do is, what if we can expand our horizons, like agriculture tourism, then photographic tourism. Sri Lanka, again, using its natural resources to be its greatest strength, we can use the photographic tourism, cultural tourism, and wedding tourism. Wedding tourism is one of the greatest markets that we can explore at the moment. So we have promoted beach weddings, we have promoted city weddings and all this. But what if we can promote mountain weddings, like taking into account special hotels, resorts around the country, towards the hill country, and promoting these packages as well. So these are little few niche markets that we could, by the support of the local authorities, the personal interest of companies, of travel agents, and if we can get together and make this, I think this market would be a good market for Sri Lanka. So moving on to the next, it's a good, like I said, it's a good opportunity for us to explore untapped destinations. We can attract a large number of tourists, millennials and everyone, and we can disperse them rather than sending all our tourists promoting the same destinations in every brochure, in every online page, everything. If we keep promoting the same destinations, the same destinations are going to be overused once again. But what if we can disperse them into directions? Because there are substitutes, like if we take Ravana Falls. Ravana Falls, you just go 4 kilometers down, you'll find Alavala. Alavala is just, it's even more beautiful than Ravana Falls. It's you get a hike and all these things. So little things that like this, we can help to disperse the crowds and disperse the tourists, attract by also, and without a limit, we can help, get more tourists down without any fear. And then customized package to encourage travel. So a uniqueness of Sri Lanka being within such a small country, we can provide a vast experience. If people go to Kandy, they will Kandy and Anuradhapura, Polanaru, they will get a more cultural. But what if they come down to Norel? Then they will get the full mountain sensation. Coming down to Vellavaya and then Gaul side, all the from Gaul to direct Colombo, all you will find is beaches. So all these experiences we can explore more and more, and within according to their budgets and according to their time period of stay, we can make special packages that give them more attraction. So if a guest is like, I'm going to stay 5 days, so what can I do within 5 days? So this, within our country, we can offer you these packages for just 5 days. So these little things that will help a person attract and give them more interest into traveling into the country is one of the another part. And then exploring new trends, the new trends in tourism. We can like mountain tourism, wedding tourism, these are the new underwater museum in Gaul. So this is a new trend that we can promote in Sri Lanka, and little small trends that may go a long way, like food tourism, things that is unique to us, we need to promote it. And then diversifying the experience of exploring Sri Lanka based on their travel period. So these are the few of the effective strategies that I think would help us, other than the more obvious reasons. So I would like to thank you for everyone for listening. Sorry if I extended the time, and I'm welcome to answer any of the questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you, Cedric. As we all know, I'll just give a quick brief up, and your presentation was so informative. And as we all know, the third largest income generator for Sri Lanka is tourism, after the foreign remittance and the apparel industry. So it is 4.9% from the total GDP. And 2018, our total arrivals, the tourist arrivals, were 2.3 million, and it has dropped a little bit into 1.9 million after the East attack. So after this lockdown, during the COVID-19 situation, the country's economy has completely stand still. Occupancy dropped drastically. There are a lot of major direct and indirect outcomes involved in the country due to this pandemic. With the suggestions and the improvement that you have given to during our presentation, encouraging self-travels, explore untapped destinations, and targeting the tourism in a niche markets were really highlighted strategies. So I would like to open up the forum to the panel members. Now you may ask questions from our contestant, G.I. Cedric Ilam Silva, who is a student of Management and Science University.
Mr. Cedric, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Well, you made a good presentation. I am really happy. You were highlighting different types of tourism products, and your opinion for the post-COVID-19 tourism promotion, not mass tourism, niche tourism. Mass tourism is not suitable for you. Similarly, when we look at the players in the tourism market, you would see micro level players, small scale players, medium level players, and large players. Your opinion, which categories we should promote in post-COVID-19 period, which categories should not be promoted? Yes, you can answer.
Sorry, sir, can you just repeat the last part of it, please? Which players?
Yes. Which players we should promote and which players we should not promote? Micro, small, medium, large. Say three-wheel drivers are there, micro. And say buses are there, small. And when we go to say trains or public buses, medium, large, which sectors should be promoted? Which sectors should not be promoted?
It's an excellent question, sir. So, being a part of the tourism industry, and me myself, I am being part of the cinnamon group. So I would say it's a large company. But being a Sri Lankan, it is hard to say who is to be promoted, who is not to be promoted. Because if we do our right marketing, and if we have our product to market, if we have something that, and if we promote something, and if we can stand by it, like before, like if we take the last year, after April, we lost all hopes that people kept saying the country is not safe anymore. We do not know when the next attack will happen. But having that faith as a Sri Lankan, we were able to come back to almost over 90% of occupancy by December. So I believe if we promote our products in a more suitable and more stable manner, we can not only stop another one over the other, but we can build it all together. Like if we are going to promote the self travelers, mostly they would prefer traveling alone, or they would use the public transport. They would say, no, I would rather rent a scooter and drive around the country. So it's something like that. And then if we take a couple of guests who are coming through Enka travels, or if they're coming through Akenspence travels, then they would say, no, I want a luxury vehicle for me to travel for all the places from hotel to hotel run. So they would also travel around the country, and also like let's say they go into an attraction. So if they want to climb the Sri Path, then what about the vendors there also could be supported through the large companies to the small, because this being a very interactive industry, I don't believe that each company, rather it being big or being small, cannot function on its own. So we need to build it all together, because if a guest is promoted an excellent service at the hotel, and if he goes into an attraction and he's not hospitable, the hospitality is not shown to him in that attraction, then the guest will also shown to him in that Sri Lankan tourism. So in this sense, being part of, whether it being a minimum number of saying that only the large industry players should benefit, or the small industry players should benefit. So slow and steady, that we can grow the industry, because at once we are not going to attract a large number of people. It's going to take some time. But with the effective strategies, I think if we play it to our strengths, we can help
COVID cluster. And if we are going to promote micro level, small would be easy for handling. Micro, small, medium, large. COVID cluster.
So if you're taking the COVID cluster, But if you're talking about the medium to small in tracing, so in my sense, yes, there is a small drop, but going forward, I think we can find more strategies, more effective strategies to fill in that gap.
Okay. Okay.
Any more questions? Ms. Jiva, yourself, we know that you wanted to ask a question. Can you please unmute?
Dr. Vimala Ratna, I think your slide number 7, since I'm coming from law background, you're talking about rules and regulations in resilience of Sri Lanka. Am I correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Policies.
You are, I mean, but sort of the research really, or I mean, information that you have collected in order to, I mean, finalize this particular the slide. There are 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullet under 7 bullet points. You were talking about some the maybe the rules since you are layman, maybe it is policies or strategies, whatever. I mean, in order to come to that type of strategies or policies or rule changes or regulatory changes, but what sort of work you have done? Because I have some doubts there, right? So
Yeah, sure.
what is the work you have done really in order to, I mean, prepare this particular slide?
This is in regard to what point, madam, exactly?
This is your rules and regulations in resilience of Sri Lanka. In slide number 7, I suppose. Yes, slide number 7. You're talking about what are the rules and regulations that we have to either to change or relax in order to have a resilience of Sri Lanka. I mean, to me, it's how to open Sri Lanka to the tourists after COVID, the post-COVID period, what sort of rules and regulations either to be in consideration or what really you are trying to talk about on this particular slide. And what are the, I mean, what sort of work you have done to come? You said that the public transportation has been prohibited to the like that.
Madam, I haven't spoken about anything about rules and regulations in my slides.
Yeah.
Strategies, there's the segmentation, targeting and positioning, then the Sri Lankan natural resources. So, are you referring to that?
Yes. Yeah, I'm referring to that. The strategies and policies, what you are trying to say that.
Yeah. So madam, so basically what I did before I started was, in order to recover, what are the steps that we need to take and what we have done in the past compared to last year, like what we have done. So last year compared to this year is a totally different subject. So I took into account by talking to personal managers at within our companies, my bosses in previous companies as well, and also going through the SLTDA website. Yeah. So,
Okay.
so prohibitions, madam, I haven't mentioned any of the prohibitions, but if that's a question, then I could say that
No, I am asking you what
actually we
are
cannot be
prohibit. Yes, that's what my point. You can't prohibit any of the person's arrival. So then it would be having, negative impact on the travelers. Therefore, what we have to do is just a suggestion only. Can't think of that, but sort of agreement. So, larger the perspective and a medium perspective. This can't be, done by people like you, but it should be taken by the government level. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Suprit, you did a good presentation. You've
Thank
been
you.
talking about the segmentation, targeting, and positioning. I mean,
Yes, sir.
If you take, especially during the COVID-19 or any pandemic periods, or no matter, maybe it is post-COVID-19, in your mind, whom do you think that we would, or they would very suitable segment that we should target?
So, Mr. Mubarak, what I was thinking was, rather than like most of the people would say that we target on one particular demographic or on one particular segmentation. But what I'm trying to emphasize is Sri Lanka has so much to offer. Why don't we make a number of segmentations? So taking into account the niche market, we can make a number of segmentations like self-travel to adventure tourism, and then culture tourism. And if we take like heritage Ayurveda tourism. So taking in one segmentation, it would be better to segment the different people and their travel needs, whether it being leisure, it can be casino, it can be like city tourism, any certain things like that. Based, it can be based on time period, or even optimize those packages.
All idea to that.
Yes. Sure.
Could happen to all the people who are, engaged in tourism. Therefore, do you have any, idea to say that yes, that is just now another 4 to 5 months, like how you have to set. Categorization or to give a
social media, right? And of elder people being hospitable. That video alone has 3 million views on Facebook through Project Nightfall page. 0.3 million views. If we can reach to one video,
Yamunu wants to make us. You want to ask any questions?
You are talking about, you are also talking about the promoting IRADA. So, IRADA treatment is something else. In this prevention or protection, promoting IRADA is something different than earlier. Industry field. Do you have any ideas or suggestions to your company to in preventive in support our tourists?
Madam, at the moment, we also depend on our in the field of if it's proven that a certain treatment is effective with if they can prove it, then madam, I think it would be a niche market that no country has ever seen before. Because treatments. Tourism industry is perfect for all the other like industry proven is so far, but at so at the moment it's quite hard like just for the Ayurvedic treatments, and they are in my mind. I was like, wow, what a good and what an amazing niche market this is to have a guest staying resident in the hotel for 1.5 years. So if we are able to actually promote medicine for that is approved by our brilliant doctors in the Ayurvedic field, then I think we can definitely attract more and more niche market in terms of the Ayurvedic medicine to Sri Lanka.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So I hope all the questions. Now we'll moving on to our next contestant, who is MSF Shamin, who is a student from University College of Anuradhapura. So it's over to you, Shamin. Shamin, could you please on your video as well so we can have a nice presentation?
Once again. Hello, can you see me? Hello, hello.
Can you, yes, speak.
Before the Sri Lanka tourism and the strategy in future development of tourism. The political tourists in 2019, there are 4,47,890 tourist arrival. When it comes when we see in the 2018, it was 2.3 million. We could see a huge development in this record. And after the civil war up in 2019, again, suddenly we expect a bounce back from this devastated situation. Again, 2020, Corona hit hard the tourism in Sri Lanka. Let's get more into introduced in the mid-March. So after the travel agencies and all the tourist-related places are reduced their workforce and some are terminated their workforce. Tourism is a life substance for many communities, mainly in Sri Lanka. Tourism. So because of the lockdown period, those all are affected by the poverty. And also the Sri Lanka We know that India is rapidly increasing in the cases of corona. And also the second one, China, the origin company, origin place where the COVID was generated. So, and also the UK, the similar condition. So our market is highly damaged, and also the decline in revenue. According to the Asian Bank, because of the travel ban, we have got the decline in 307 million rupees. And let's see the effective strategies and the policy measures for the post-COVID-19 tourism development in Sri Lanka, practicing the advices of United Nations, World Tourism Organization, and World Health Organization, because the peoples are believed who follow the stricter guidelines and the guidance of the World Tourism Organization. They are providing a good service for the people and effective dialogues between the stakeholders. We know that there are so many stakeholders in tourism. We cannot say sometimes a people can be a stakeholder, a foreign traveler, and a travel agency in Sri Lanka, and in a foreign travel agency, and the leaders, and all are stakeholders. So if we make a dialogues between marketers, entrepreneurs, and the leaders who are related in tourism, we could come up with the new ideas and to find out a new market which we want to target, and to segment what are the things we are going to provide them. So the effective dialogues is very important for the resilience of the tourism in future. And long scheme and the funds program to improve safety security at a tourist place. In future, tourism will be in a different manner. The people will mainly concern about the safety security of them. But due to the lockdown period, in most of the attractions, we know that the government need to attract more the progress of the tourism. You know, Swiss sightseeing, there's powerful promotion for a everyone thinks that all countries are affected by the corona, and still we are with the corona. So when we came from the corona incidents, we need to arrange international travel, arrange meeting with the international travel media to the normal in transportation. Uh,
Lankan tourism was started in to begin in 1971. We have faced a lot of and WHO.